As I said, that we have assessment. As we said, assessment is as in your book, with a test, and assessment includes any means of checking what the students can do and cannot do, or a process of gathering information or collecting information and so on. And we say that we have formative and summative assessment. Formative assessment at the beginning of the course, as you know, that's why it's your information or stake, and summative assessment at the end of the course, and it is high information. And also we said that we have 7 purposes according to our specialization. We have 7 purposes of assessment: placement, selection, diagnosis, creation, projection, and so on. And also I said that this is when do we use selection? When do we use selection?
Yes, may
Yes.
Yes, may I?
Yes.
Miss?
No.
Yes, may I?
طلاب حتى الصوت ما ينقطع بالبقية. اسماء ناظم. Yes.
Yes, miss. Selection in the pre-course.
Pre-course, yes, or at the beginning of the course. Yes, very good. Yusuf Safi.
Yes, selection as failure possible the limited number of places or jobs or higher education.
Yusuf, I'm sure that when do we use it? When do we use it?
May I?
Yes.
Yes.
شو يعني وين بالعربي؟
يعني شو وقت؟
ايش وقت؟ جود. ايش وقت نستخدم هسه عفكم من سelection جاوبتها اسماء. يوسف, when do you use progress test او progress?
البروجرس؟
Yes.
أعتقد
Thank you يوسف.
البداية.
بتقول
Yes, miss.
yes, progress test.
Progressive? During the course.
Yes, good. Or during the year. Good. قاسم طفي المايك. حفاء نوري.
Yes, miss.
قاسم طفي المايك. Yes, how do we use
Yes.
when do we use achievement?
Achievement is I'll explain achievement test.
Okay. Achievement test is achievement purposes.
Yes. Achievement attainment test, so similar to progress test, but it's more formal tests are intended measure achievement in a large scale, and most
طلاب يعني أنا من أسألكم when do we use at the beginning, during, at the end فقط. يعني هو السؤال جوابكم يكون على قد السؤال. يعني مثلا أقول لك when do we use it وتتحرك ليه، هذا أعطيك غلط عليه. يعني جوابك كله خطأ يكون. من أقول لك مثلا where do we use it وتتعرف ليه، هذا خطأ. أنا إذا أقول when يعني متى، يعني بالعامية شو وقت على قولتكم، شو وقت نستخدم at the beginning أو during or at the end. خلاص في هذا ينتهي الجواب. جاوبك صحيح كامل درجة كاملة. Okay, so when do we use placement at the beginning of the course or pre-course? Selection, prediction at the beginning of the course. Diagnosis, progress during or through the year. Accreditation or achievement at the end of the year or at the end of the course. That's it. Okay, then and also we said on page 5, on page 5, I said that we have formative and summative assessment according to Bloom. So formative assessment according to Blue assumes that the results of the test are used to guide the future progress of Eliana according to Bloom والسماتب also according to Bloom. أي تعريف ثاني للformative summative assessment من الكتاب أو من اللي فهمتوه من عندي يعني مو من الملازم وإنترنت وكذا أنا يعتبر صحيح. لكن من أقول لكم مثلا what is formative assessment according to Bloom أو what is summative assessment according to Bloom فهنا لازم تلتزمون بتعريف informative والsummative اللي هو page 5. Okay. Today and as I said before that today I'll be talking about types of tests. Types of tests, we have 5 types of tests. Okay, and as I said before, when I ask you to explain one of these tests, I want you to first of all define it. Then, what are the aims of this test, or what is the aim of this test, and when do we use it, or what are the examples of this test? Okay. So, for example, class progress test. Class progress test, first of all, I have to define it. So, class progress test is designed to measure the extent to which the students have mastered the material taught in the classroom. The second point, the aims or goals of this test. First of all, stimulate learning, reinforce what has been taught, and enables the teacher to become more familiar with the work of each of his students and with the progress of the class. هذه yes problem.
بس بنا زحمة استعاني كيف شلون بدنا نكتب وياك؟
كيف تكتبون هذا موجود عندكم page 5.
مو الكتاب مالتي ما موجود لأن احنا تبني بدها تستنسخه فأنا أحاول أكتب وياك.
أبويا على كيفش بتشرح نريد نفتهم.
لا تسجلوا صوت بتليفون ثاني، سجلوا فويس بتليفون ثاني.
أنا نفتهم على كيف نريد نفتهم الشرح.
طلاب أنا قلت لكم إنه المحاضرة من يخلص لأنه أنا قلت لكم أعتقد الأسبوع الماضي إنه طلاب هذا المحاضرة ما تنزل يعني الباوربوينت بينزل بعد كل محاضرة قالوا تصير هواي وكذا فالباوربوينت حينزل بعد نهاية الشابتر الأول يعني إن شاء الله يوم نخلص ينزل بالباوربوينت والتسجيل الصوتي أيضا حينزل للشابتر كامل هم بعد يعني يوم الخميس أعتقد يعني بعد ما نخلص هذا الشابتر إن شاء الله ينزل شابتر ينزل تسجيل الشابتر بلس إنه أنا أقول مثلا on page 5 on page كذا حتى تعرفون إنه أنا دا أقرأ اللي موجود يعني ما داش بعدني ما شرحت المادة أنا بس دا أقرأ اللي موجود. أنا كتابي بينقص أنا ما مستنسخة أنا كتابي ضايع أنا أحد أخذ كتابي. Anyway, an example of this class progress test monthly test. Yes. So. Class progress test, as I said before, is designed to measure the extent to which the students have mastered the material taught in the classroom. The second point aims of this test stimulate learning, reinforce what has been taught, and enables the teacher to become more familiar with the work of each of his students and so on. An example of class progress test monthly test. So monthly tests are good examples of class progress tests. Yes. زهراء يعقوب لا wait. حوراء حيدر كاظم you raised your hand right. حوراء حيدر كاظم. نور الهدى مهدي.
Yes, miss.
Yes, نور الهدى مهدي. What is the class progress test?
What class progress test? Class progress test, I will define it.
Yes, first of all, we have to define it. Yes, very good.
class progress tests is designed.
Yes.
Yes, I will continue. Is designed to measure the extent to which the students have mastered the materials taught in the classroom.
صوت فصل عند النت العفو.
Okay, خلاص okay. Yes, good نور الهدى. So هذا تعريف الكلاس progress.
This is defined.
ثانيا الaims أو الجولز. Yes.
The aims, its aims, first one, it is to stimulate learning and
Reinforce.
yes, I will continue. And the second, realize force what has been taught, and the third, it is effect on learning and teaching is valuable.
طلاب أنت بس اسمعوني طلاب أنا هسه قلت لكم الأهداف قلت لكم stimulate learning, reinforce what has been taught and enables the teacher to become. Okay. الثالث enables the teacher. Yes, no.
Yes, and we have in addition that progress test enable that teachers becomes more familiar with the words of each of these students and which the progress of the class is general. We use for example, we use the mathematics because we have must learn the students step by step to understand the next step to understand the math.
Yes, that's it. Okay, so monthly test اللي هي الامتحانات الشهرية هي good example of class progress test. Yes, no, that's very good.
May I share?
No, thank you, Hawa. Wait a minute. Do you have any question? Up to here, do you have any question?
Yes, may I ask?
Yes, Rafet.
You say that there are aims about class progress tests, right?
Yes. Yes, aims of a class progress test. Yes.
We have its aim to simulate. This is the first step, right?
Yes.
And what
Stimulate learning, reinforce what has been taught, enable the teacher to become more familiar with the work of each of his students and with the progress of the class in general. I thought.
Okay, finish.
Good. Yes, you are welcome. Okay.
Sorry, miss.
Yes.
Yes, the example about this class progress test. What is it? Sorry.
Monthly test. بالعربي قلت لكم وبالإنجليزي هم قلت لكم.
Okay.
Yes. So now we have achievement test. Achievement test, as I said before, we have to define it. The achievement test more formal than class progress test. Achievement tests are intended to measure achievement on a large scale. An example of achievement test: annual school examination. An annual school examination. And achievement test is a judgmental test. Okay. Yes. So, محمد تقي.
Yes.
Yes. What is
achievements test? Similar to the progress test in some ways. Are far more familiar test, and the aim of it's intent to measure achievements on the large scale, we use it in annual school examination, and all public examinations which are intended to show mastery of particular syllabus of this type. It means we use this at the end of year.
Yes, good. Well, what do we mean by achievement tests are intended to measure achievement on a larger scale? What does this mean?
It means he measure or evaluate the achievement if the students learn some things or not on large scale on expansion. يحشو عن نطاق واسع.
Yes, good. Okay. فهذا فرق الachievement عن الclass progress test إنه الachievement يكون on a larger scale. Okay, like the annual school examination or annual college examination, while a progress test will monthly test. Unit or so on. Okay, so yes, Mohammed Taqi, very good. Now we have proficiency test. Proficiency test, first of all بنتبه للتعريف اللي نعرف كل test. First of all, as I said, we have to define it. So proficiency tests are concerned simply with measuring the student's control of the language in the light of what he will be expected to do with it in his future performance of a particular task. This is the definition of proficiency test. So again, proficiency tests are concerned simply with measuring the student's control of the language in the light of what he will be expected to do with it in his future performance of a particular task. The aim of a proficiency test: assess global ability. Examples of proficiency test: TOEFL and IELTS. Here we have informal, formal, and more formal. Monthly tests, informal tests or informal exams. Achievement test, formal tests. Proficiency test, more formal than achievement tests. Okay. Proficiency test measure what students have learned, but they are in no way related to any syllables or teaching program. Proficiency tests done by proficiencies, okay, and as its name indicates, assess global ability, and that's it.
Yes, sorry.
The placing of yes, Rafet.
You said that the example of this test, TOEFL and what? Right?
TOEFL and IELTS, yes. Yes, yes, محمد رسول الله الكوتشي.
لا بس بالنسبة هاي فورمال هذن يعني بس لازم احنا نعرفهن لو نذكرهن ويا التعريف.
لا هو أنت تعرف أنت ما مثلا امتحان يعني بالامتحان يكون عندك سؤال مثلا أنه هذا فورمال وهذا انفورمال ممكن يكون صح وخطأ something like this. Okay. Yes. Yes, يوسف.
Yes, miss. بس المثال والهدف مال هذا نوع.
المثال TOEFL and IELTS. aim assess global ability. طلاب يعني تدرون إنه أنا أشرح كلمة كلش بطيء إذا أشرحه. أوكي. أتمنى إنه تلحقون تسجلون بالإضافة إنه نفس المدى أعطي من عندي معلومات نفس اللي موجود بالكتاب يعني حتى تكونوا متبعين وياي
صح كلمة بس شوية الصوت يقطع فكلمة نسمعها وكلمة لا.
مو مشكلة بس هو نصر من الكتاب يعني حتى تكونون مطمئنين. أوكي هو نصر من الكتاب. Yes. So that's it. This is proficiency test. فردوس حيدر.
Yes.
Yes, Firdaus Haida. What is proficiency test?
Proficiency test. These tests are concerned simply with measuring the student control of the language in the light of what he will be expected to do within their future performance of particle text. For example, the aim of this professional test to assess global ability.
Very good.
And the example TOEFL and IELTS.
TOEFL and IELTS, yes, very good. Okay. هذا هو. فاحنا كل التست ناخذ as I said تعريف ونame وأمثلة. Very good. Now we have aptitude test. Yes, aptitude test or prognostic test. First of all, you have a vision of this test designed to measure the student's probable performance in a foreign language which he has not started to learn. The aim of this aptitude test or this type of test seek to predict the student's probable strengths and weaknesses in learning foreign language. The time of this test, as I said before, examples are time. Here we have time. The time of aptitude test, pre-course or at the beginning of the course. Okay, so aptitude test measure the student's probable performance in a foreign language which he has not started to learn. And the aim of this test seek to predict the student's probable strengths and weaknesses in learning foreign language. The time of this test, pre-course or at the beginning of the year. So when do we use it? At the beginning of the year. And also you have to keep in mind that the most important word in its definition is students' probable performance. Okay, students' probable performance. Probable strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so here we have probable, strong and weak points. The instructor is using aptitude test to predict the strong and weak points. I mean, he or she is not sure yet where it is, if there is a strong or a weak point. Okay, well, with the aptitude test. And also we have many factors including like intelligence, motivation, age, and so on. Yes. So do you have any question? Wahaj Aqil?
Yes, miss.
Yes, what is aptitude test?
It is a designed performance in a foreign language which he has not started to learn. Aptitude test generally الأيم مالتها for seek to predict the weakness in a learning foreign language by measuring his performance in an particular language.
Yes.
It is how.
When do we
have it in the start of classes or in the start of year?
Or yes, good, very good. Here we have diagnostic test, the fourth one, diagnostic test. Diagnostic test achievement and proficiency tests are frequently used for diagnostic purposes. Okay, the aim of diagnostic test to find out the strong and weak points of the class as a whole and individual students. When do we use it? Diagnostic during the course, okay, or through the year. And also we have here, yes. Look, What is the main difference between diagnostic test and aptitude test? For example, the first one, we have aptitude test at the beginning of the course, while diagnostic test through the course or through the year. But the most important point or the most important difference between aptitude and diagnostic test, with aptitude test, the instructor is not sure whether there are strong or weak points, okay? While with diagnostic test, the instructor or the teacher is pretty sure that there are strong and weak points, okay? So with aptitude, we have prediction. We have a prediction. We are not sure yet if there are strong or weak points or not. But with diagnostic test, we are pretty sure that we have strong and weak points. Okay, that's it. Yes. So, do you have any question?
Please, could you repeat the differences between aptitude and
As I said, the point between aptitude and say and diagnostic. Aptitude test seek to predict the strong and weak point, while diagnostic test find out the strong and weak points. That means that the teacher or the instructor pretty sure with diagnostic test, pretty sure that there are strong and weak points. Yes.
Yeah, that's the definition of diagnostic test. The definition
Achievements and proficiency tests are frequently used for diagnostic purposes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, بس المثال
واحنا قلنا لو مثال لو وقت هنا أنا ما عندنا
وقت
يكون during the year. طبعا يوسف اللي متابع ويانا مثلا من المحاضرة السابقة page 4 on page 4 figure 1 I said that we have placement selection prediction at the beginning of the course.
We have diagram here.
Progress yes during the course بس يمكن نسيت انت او كنت متابع anyway فهو هذا الوقت ما يكون during the course. Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. انتظار عباس. Yes, انتظار. What is diagnostic test?
They are achievement and proficiency tests are frequently used for diagnostic purpose.
Yes, good.
To find out the strong and weak points of the class as a whole and individual students.
Yes, good. When do we use it?
We use it during the course.
Yes, very good. Good, thank you. Yeah, during the course means, for example, at the end of the semester, if we have 2 semesters at the end of the semester, so we use it twice a year, okay, or 3 times a year, depends on the style program or teaching program, yes. And also we have how do we assess? How do we assess? How do we assess here? We have, as you know or see, we have modes of assessment, okay? First of all, I said that we have 3 forms of assessment, grade, low-key, and feedback. And I said that we have 2 types of assessment, formal, informal. And I said we have 2 categories of assessment, formative and summative. Today we have modes of assessment. We have 10 modes of assessment. formal, informal, formative, summative, continuous, terminal, internal, external, coursework, and examination. 10 modes of assessment. So what are the modes of assessment? What are the 10 modes of assessment or types of assessment according to modes or to the modes? Okay, so we have 10 modes of what we call it of assessment. Formal and informal, as I said before. Formal assessment, ministry exams. Formal assessment, ministry exams or final exams. The characteristics of formal assessment تكون standardized, as you know, large scale, as we said, prepared by professional testing. That's it. Informal assessment, monthly test, for example, informal one, prepared by the teacher or the instructor. And that's it. And also we have formative, summative. Already you have an idea about formative and summative assessment. We have continuous, terminal. Continuous assessment تكون through the year. Okay. Terminal تكون at the end of the year. Continuous assessment because it is during the year, so it is informal. While terminal assessment تكون formal assessment. Internal and external. Internal assessment تكون carried through the year. Okay, like monthly test, like achievement test, progress test, diagnostic test, all of them internal assessment. While external assessment, like proficiency test, يكون carried out the year or the teaching program, like TOEFL and IELTS. يكون external assessment. Okay. And we have also coursework examination. Coursework examination هو طبعات يعني كل طبعة يختلف التعريف مالته. فالcoursework examination الشرح مالتهم مداخل بس تعدادهم يكون داخل ويا بقية التعدادات. أوكي. طيب بالنسبة لل 10 modes of assessment جدا واضحات. بنين لبنان. Yes miss. بس اقرأي لنا مثلا formal assessment اقرأيها بقية الطلاب تبعوا وياها حتى لو عندكم مثلا كلمة زايدة أو كلمة محذوفة you can add or omit words. Yes, Brittany.
Formal assessment is a standardized large-scale test which are prepared by professional testing services to assess institutions and the selection, placement and evaluation of students.
Yes.
Also, we have the informal assessment is obtained diagnostically by the teacher to obtain reliable insight about the student's ability and the state of development.
Yes, very good. What is the difference between continuous assessment and formative assessment? We say continuous assessment during the year or during the semester. Thank you, Benny. Thank you. هذا السؤال للكل. Thank you. Very good. We say that we have continuous and formative assessment. Continuous assessment يكون during the year or during the semester, and formative assessment also during the year. So what is the difference between continuous and formative assessment?
Yes, miss.
Yes, Yusuf.
Yes, I think continuous assessment through whole the year, continue through whole the year, and while the internal assessment happened just right through the year, but in a period of time, a limited period of time.
Yes. Yes, here formative assessment, it means to measure the students if they have information or not, to understand, to see them if they master the material or syllabus or not, where the continuous assessment is used to update the information that they have, to update the performance. Means to add something new to their performance.
Updating of judgments about students' performance. What does this mean in relation to a specific subject?
Means to add something new to their performance. Maybe.
Which one of them have been happens more formative or continuous?
Continuous.
Continuous, yes, very good. Continuous assessment يكون in relation to specific subject, okay? يكون in relation to specific subject, continuous assessment, while formative assessment, for example, relation to unit chapter as a whole, okay? While continuous, no, to specific subject. Yes, very good, Mohammed. Today also we have what do we assess? As I said before, that according to your specialization, we use assessment to assess language, okay? To assess language. And language, or the system of language is the whole system of language, skills and اللغة منين تتكون؟ النظام اللغوي. The whole system of language.
Skills are combined.
Yes, very good. So skills are components. Yes, very good. Skills, as you know, reading, listening, writing, speaking, and components, grammar, vocabulary, and phonology. Okay. On page, which page? Page 10, yes. Okay, yes. So, skills take the form of test. How? When I want to test my students' listening, for example, comprehension, or what or which skills does the teacher assess? The teacher assesses listening comprehension. The teacher assesses speaking ability. The teacher assesses reading comprehension. The teacher assesses writing ability, or the instructor assesses. Okay. How we can assess or test listening comprehension by using or including phoneme, stress, and so on. Okay. Following by questions of varying techniques. How we can assess speaking ability? Speaking ability by interview, picture description, role playing. Okay. Reading comprehension by scanning, skimming, drawing, and so on. Writing ability, form of letters, instruction, accounts of past events, and so on, many things with writing ability. And also we have grammar, vocabulary, phonology, the components of the language. So which linguistic does the teacher assess? We assess grammar, vocabulary, and phonology. The grammar, like for example, grammar, tenses, conjunctions, many things with the grammar. With vocabulary, as with vocabulary, the meaning of words, and phonology. How can we which vowel sound, for example, how can we pronounce this thing or this word, and so on. Okay, so these are the components of language. Okay, grammar, vocabulary, and phonology. Yes. And also we said before what is the general aim behind making test, or what is the aim of test? Why do we need to make tests or exams or so on? To judge the students' ability, or to get an idea about their performance, about their level, and so on. Okay, and also we have when do we assess? When do we assess? As you know, I said that we have assessment pre the course, okay, or at the beginning of the course, and we have during the course, and also we have at the end of the course. Here, when do we assess? We have terminal of final, final at the end of the course, at the end of the predetermined, or at the end of the year. Terminal assessment. And also we have a periodic assessment. The periodic assessment يكون through the year, and we have continuous assessment. What is the difference between periodic assessment and continuous assessment? الاثنين يكون through the year. So what is the difference between periodic and continuous assessment?
Yes, Neil. May I?
Yes, for those.
Yes, product. I think like a quiz.
Yes.
Continuous is monthly, more informal.
So periodic assessment يكون short period or short time, okay? Periodic assessment, while continuous assessment like monthly exams or monthly tests. Okay, that's it. Yes, very good. امتحانات الكوزات كذا هذه كلها periodic assessment, while continuous assessment like monthly exams. Okay.
سيد.
Yes.
بس عفوا على المقاطعة، احنا ما لحقنا نسجل حضور بالرابط، شلون؟
ليش ما لحقت تسجل حضور؟
ست مو الكهرباء مطفية هسه ولا اجت؟
اوكي. كيف مايك زهرة؟ مريم عدنان.
ايه زهرة علي هاشم.
اوكي.
مريم عدنان ست، أنا هم كتبت حضور.
ليش ما سجلت حضور؟
هو دا أدخل على الرابط يعني الردود متأخرة يكتب لي. هو فصل النت عندي ورجعت دا أفوت عليه ما يفوت أبد.
اوكي. قلت لكم ان شاء الله الاسبوع القادم راح يكون حضور، انزل فورم وما انزل، لكن راح يكون حضور بالاسماء، يعني من الورقة اللي على الاسماء. Anyway, yes. So do you have any question up to here? No question?
No question. Everything's clear.
Good, thank you. Okay. So هدى قاسم حسن. هدى قاسم حسن. رأفت رعد.
Yes, miss.
Give me an idea of this assessment.
What?
Give me an idea about the assessment.
About assessment?
Yes.
Assessment includes any means of checking what students can do with the language. If also includes what they cannot do, but proper assessment gives due weight to the positive side of their achievements.
Yes. شاهد.
ما سمعت.
بعد شنو؟
اوكي.
شنو تعرف عن الاسسمنت؟ يعني مثل ما اسال طالب نقول له give me an idea about assessment، يعني ينطيني فكرة عن الشابتر الاول كله. فشنو بواي؟ Yes. What do you know about assessment? What do you have?
the processes of assessment. Have a placement, diagnosis, selection, evaluation, progress, prediction, and accreditation. Also, we have formative assessment and we have summative assessment.
Formative
Formative assessment that the results of the test are used to guide the future processes of learner, while summative assessment, on the other hand, represents the end of the read where the learner is usually ranked and graded.
Thank you, راشد. حوراء نوري، حوراء لا شاركت حوراء حيدر.
Yes, miss.
Yes, حوراء حيدر.
Assessment. The title of assessment has been chosen
to evaluate and to predict possible future success, whether in school or outside.
Thank you. حيدر. اسمه حيدر.
Yes, miss.
Yes. What is formative assessment according to Bloom?
Formative assessment happens to beginning of the years to provide the learners and the goal here to done for learning. It mentions students learning to add the improve of learning strength and weakness.
حيدر اسمه حيدر. I said what is طلاب انتبهوا للسؤال، يعني مو تاخذون بس يعني جزء من السؤال وتحطون يعني تكتبون الأسئلة وانت مركزة. ف what is formative assessment according to Bloom? Thank you أسماء. صوتي ظاهر بالواضح عندكم. Thank you أسماء. حيدر. أحمد شاسر.
Yes, miss.
Yes, Ahmed. What is formative assessment according to Bloom on page 5? Ahmed.
Yes, a formative assessment that the results of the test are used to guide the future process of a learner.